In this lesson, I'm going to demonstrate the concept of responsive web design. Now, we've been working with our site here. Let me scroll up, which is pretty much responsive to begin with. Most of the themes that you work in WordPress or when you create sites, we insert certain meta code such as the viewport and so forth, and I'll explain what that is in just a minute. But for right now, I want to go through this lesson and I'm going to show you what do we mean by responsive web design. Basically, whenever you view a website, whether you view it in Chrome browser as we're doing right now, or any other browser such as Internet Explorer, Safari, and so on, or more importantly, when you view websites on your mobile device, okay, or your tablet, your website must automatically adjust to that device. Otherwise, your page will be out of proportion. Okay, and that is exactly what we mean by the responsive website design. In other words, your web page automatically adjusts to the design of your device or the type of device that you're using. In order to test whether this particular website is a responsive website or not, we can simply go online, or you can open up this particular URL in your mobile device and take a look whether it is responsive or not. But online we can also check. So I can go to something like mobiletest.me, just an online website, and there are hundreds and hundreds of sites out there that will test your site in smartphones and tablet emulators. So for instance, if we need to check up on our site, I'm going to copy the URL from our homepage here and go to the mobiletest.me site, and I'm just going to open up the Apple iPhone 5, and where it says type a website address and hit go, I'm going to paste the website address and click go, and it will bring up the emulator, and notice our site is displayed within this emulator, and I can navigate by clicking on the menus, and they're responsive as is. So pretty neat. Similarly, you can test other devices such as, let's say, Apple iPad. Just click go, and it will show you size of your site within the Apple iPad. So this way you can design responsive sites, and like I said earlier, most of the themes that we install in WordPress, they are responsive, but some of them are not. And what happens when they're not? How do we code? How do we create a page that is responsive? So let me go ahead and go to a dashboard here. I'm going to quickly demonstrate how to create a page that is based on the responsive design. So let's go to pages, and currently we have about 3 pages. I'm going to add a new page by clicking on add new, and I'm going to give this page a name. I'm going to call it responsive web design, and in the bottom here I need to make sure I'm in the text tab, right? Not the visual editor, but the text editor, because most of the times when you're working with HTML5 language or your CSS, you need to be in your text area. And this is where I can begin to create a page that will give us examples of a responsive web page. So I'm going to start off with essentially a tag called style. So I'm going to define a style here first. And next I'm going to use some CSS. And once again, you can embed CSS right within your page. If you're creating, let's say, an HTML tags, you can mix and match, but keep in mind that these are independent languages, and let's keep them that way, but we can use them interchangeably and combine them and make use of their flexibility. So here's the article that I want to use here, and I'm going to make this article, let's say, float colon to the left, and just defining some properties. Set my margins, colon, I'm going to say it's about 5 pixels wide, and then also my padding, which is again 5. The width of this article box or the block is going to be 300 pixels, and of course I need to remember to add semicolon at the end as the rules mandate. And after my width, I need to specify the height of this article box. So the height would be, I don't know, something like 300. Let's make it a square. put a semicolon. Then maybe I'd like to give a border to this article as well. It's about 2 pixels wide. And I'm going to make it solid and color, let's say black. Perfect. Close my curly braces here once I'm done defining the properties. And then I'm going to end the style tag as well. Next, let's add some text, right? So I'm just going to say some simple heading 1. And I'm going to say it's web developer course. Close my heading tag. And that's heading 1. Of course, 1 being the largest. And then as we move to heading 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, the heading size becomes smaller and smaller. Okay. Next, I'm going to also show you the heading 2 tag here, just so that you can see. And I'm going to say resize this responsive page. And I'm going to close the heading 2 tag. Okay. See how easy it is to code in HTML5 and even using CSS. Once I've set my headings, I can always preview. Let's go back and preview the new page that we're creating, as opposed to creating the entire thing and then taking a look at it. So if I click preview at this point without updating it, I should be able to see what it looks like. So right now, here's my heading 1, web developer course, and then resize this responsive page. So far, great. Let's go back. Next, let's add a div class article, right? Since we've defined article on the top, so I'm going to use the div class equals article, close my tag, and here I'm going to use heading 3. I'm going to say about the web developer, and just some sample text that I'm adding just to show you the responsiveness. And then I'm going to use the tag called P, which is a new paragraph. And I can say using CSS, PHP, Java, and some additional text, right? So you get the idea. I'm going to make this text a little larger based on the other articles that I'm going to create. So I'm going to write some more text. Welcome to this course using WordPress. Development, including programming. I'm enjoying and having fun. So notice, since I began with the paragraph tag, I have to end the paragraph tag as well. And once I'm done, I can also close the div tag. So here's my first block where I've defined my class of article. Let's preview and take a look at what it looks like. Scroll up, click on preview, and perfect. So we have our first article box based on our margins and paddings that we have identified. Okay, and notice how automatically the text adjusts within this box. Let me create another one. So next, we're going to do another div here. I'm going to say div class equals article. And this time I'm going to say H3, which is my heading 3 here, for instance. And I'm going to say most wanted tutorials and class. And I'm going to close the H3 tag. Next, I'm going to add a paragraph. And I'm going to say SharePoint. Class is great. Close my paragraph and then do another paragraph. All I'm doing is just building here just to show you what the blocks of code or the responsiveness of the article blocks look like. So here I'm going to say Excel tutorial, wonderful, and then close our tags as well. So you get the idea, right? And of course, at the end, we must close the div tag. Because recall, every time you're using tags, there's an opening tag and then there's a closing tag. So similarly, let's scroll up and preview one more time. And our page looks like this. Pretty neat. So I'm going to go back. I'm going to create another one. Okay, this time I'm just going to copy the article from the top here and paste to save time. Okay, and just make some changes here if need be. Or you can leave the same text, or you can add text to it. And once you're done, let's click on preview one last time just to make sure we have all of our boxes here. Okay, perfect. And let's hit publish. let's double check one more time. So here is our style, okay, that we created, and then we applied this style or this class to various parts on our page. And what this article does, by the way, this dot article, what this does, it doesn't really have any effect on the page itself. So for instance, let me go back to the page here. Notice the dot article allows independent, or it is rather an independent part of this entire page, okay? In other words, it's fully responsive. So no matter where you see, whichever device, you should be able to view it easily. So let me go back and finally publish this page called responsive design. Perfect. And the name of the page is right here, the permalink is responsive-web design. So if I click on it to open a new link, I should be able to see my new URL for this page. Obviously, I haven't really created any menu for this page. If need be, we can always go back and add a menu item or a link somewhere on the page that links to this particular page. So I'm going to copy this once our site is updated, and let's navigate to, let's say, Internet Explorer. So I'm just going to open up a new browser here, paste the page here, hit enter, and notice it says responsive web design. That's the title, and it opens up pretty nicely in Internet Explorer as well. So I hope this helps. Practice using CSS, creating classes, and then your responsive websites. And let's move to our next lesson.